Good morning and welcome to All Faiths Unitarian Congregation. My name is Joyce Ramay and I will be leading our service today. Here you will find a diverse and inclusive spiritual community where we welcome people with many beliefs. You can bring your whole self, your full identity, your questioning mind, and your expansive heart. At All Faiths, we have more than one way of experiencing the world and understanding the sacred. No matter who you are, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, no matter whom you love, you are truly welcome here. Is anyone visiting for the first time? Please raise your hand if you are. Welcome. We're glad that you joined us today. If you would like to know more about All Faiths or membership, please see Fran Way. She's raising her hand there after our service in a membership corner, which is just behind the folding doors. Or you can visit our website, allfaithsuu.org. We have a few announcements. On Tuesday evening at 7 p.m., we'll have the Lectio Divina on Zoom. That's a combination of reading, spiritual reading, contemplation, and discussion. And it's been very wonderful. On Wednesday at 10 o'clock, we have our 10 o'clock scholar. We're having the Long Strange Trip on Zoom, and that's the history of Unitarian Universalism. Starting next Sunday, our news talk with Richard Keelan will be here in the All Faiths Sanctuary before the service. And the time is changed. It will be from 9:30 until about 10:10 in the morning. And next Sunday, bring your money and your checkbooks. Charlotte Blitt is going to be holding our annual Mano a Mano crafts sale to support the uplift projects in Bolivia. Mano a Mano was founded by our longtime friends Joan and Segundo Velasquez, and they bring wonderful, delightful things. I have a beautiful shawl from there. I see Bolivian stories, and I wish they'd send some of those great hats they have down there. Charlotte, maybe you can talk to them about hats for next year. And now I ask that you join Rise in Body or Spirit as we sing together hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. To the song, open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Open your ears to the song. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Open, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
And today, we are celebrating Hanukkah. And we were going to have Marge DeGabo and Howard Silverman come up to light the menorah, but Marge is in Connecticut. So today, our good Catholic husband of Marge, Robert DeGabo, and Howard Silverman will come forward to light the menorah. And Robert told me he knows the words. That's a sign of true love. All right, now here normally we would sing Go Now in Peace. And our children were going to be going to the Memorial Garden for their youth program, but it's too cold out, so we invited them to stay to celebrate Hanukkah with us here. So as we sing this song, change one thing. Stay now in peace.
Stay now in peace, stay now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.
At this time, we get together to share our joys and sorrows. So if you have a joy or sorrow that you'd like to share, I invite you to come forward one by one and briefly share with the congregation.
Carol Heilsberg, and I'm lighting a candle this morning in gratitude for the life and talent of Stephen Sondheim, who passed away Friday. And I heard that on Wednesday, he attended both a matinee and an evening performance on Broadway. And as far as I'm concerned, he could not have written a more fitting final scene. We should all be so lucky when we end our run on this earthly stage.
Hi, I am Rachel Spiller, and this is my daughter Nova, who said, I know what you're going to say, so I'm going to come with you. And since it's the Spillers, of course, it's about our pets. Our beloved house chicken passed away in the last couple of weeks. We had raised her from an egg. She was supposed to be a homeschool experiment, but we got pretty attached and just wouldn't let her go. She had been fighting ovarian cancer for about a year and a half, and she lost her battle. So that's our sorrow for today. But since there was a vacancy at our home zoo, we were able to take in another pet. We took in a tiny little 1-pound bunny from Southwest Florida House Rabbit Rescue, who had been through quite a bit of trauma. When I first met her about a month and a half ago, she had no hair on the back half of her body. Her feet were urine scalded to the point where it's left scars. And she was completely blind for the same reason. She had corneal edema from the urine fumes. After a few weeks at the rescue, though, she is a happy, spunky, bright-eyed little thing who has almost all of her vision back, and for the holidays, she got a forever home. So a little bit of tears and a little bit of happiness.
Would anyone like me to bring the mic to you?
Hi, I'm Sharon Gray, and for some of you may know that I'm a member of the local NOW chapter, National Organization for Women. We had a yard sale yesterday to help raise money. We're doing scholarships for high school students, girls, based on essays that they submit. It's called the Ellen Peterson Award. She helped establish Hapahatchee. She was an environmental advocate. And we raised almost $700. Thank you.
I'm lighting this candle for Chris Stadler and his family. He received word this morning that Chris Stadler's mother died this morning. She was 102 years old. And so we extend our sympathy to Chris and his family. This candle I'm lighting for all of you who have joys and sorrows in your heart. And now I'd like to ask all of you to close your eyes and contemplate all of the blessings for which you were grateful on this past Thanksgiving Day. And now please rise in body and spirit as we sing together hymn number 123, Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Today we're celebrating Hanukkah, and here at All Faith, that's always a very special occasion because when we first formed All Faith in 2001, Rabbi Bruce Diamond hosted us at his synagogue, and for the first 6 months we held monthly meetings there until we located a place of school to start in the fall. So Hanukkah and the Jewish synagogue and Rabbi Diamond, these have been part of our experience ever since our father. Rabbi Diamond is, he is a person who has brought so much joy into our lives through the years. And he has just a special, we just sang Spirit of Life. And if anyone embodies the spirit of life, it is Rabbi Diamond. He conveys all the beauty of the spirituality that should be a part of all faiths and all traditions. So, Rabbi Diamond, we're very happy to have you here with us today. And now, we also have another great joy to celebrate today. Carlos Garcia has joined us today, and he is our new music director. And I was talking about that spirit of joy. When we were interviewing people and our search team, and we met some people, and I'm sorry to say, some of the candidates, it was like going to a funeral to hear their music. And then Carlos came along, and he brought with him this beautiful spirit of life and spirit of joy. And so Carlos will now play our prelude.
given as a garden cradle for humanity, tree of life and tree of knowledge placed for our divinity. Here was home for all your creatures, born from land and sky and sea, all created in your image, all to live in harmony. Show to us again the garden where all life flows fresh and free. Gently guide your sons and daughters to full maturity. Teach us how to trust each other, how to use for good our power, how to touch the earth with reverence, then once more we'll eat and flower. Bless the earth and all your children, one creation make us whole, interwoven, all connected, planet-wide and inmost soul. Waters flowing, life bestowing, bid our waste and warfare cease. Fill us all with grace o'erflowing. Teach us how to live in peace.
Thank you, Carlos. Our reading today is Spiritual Holiday Season by the Reverend Dr. Daniel Chesney Cantor, who is a senior minister at First Unitarian Church of Dallas, Texas. Christmas and Hanukkah, once upon a time, were about struggle, hope, and freedom. Both stories are exile stories, pointing out how even a glimmer of light can provide a lasting hope for the triumph of all that is good. While we haven't altogether lost these themes in our modern interpretations, we have handed over a large portion of the narratives to the big box stores and advertising, budding us a happy holiday. These accounts once asked us to confront the evils of greed and the misuse of power and see in human efforts a desire for peace and justice. A sad American reality is that we have turned them into commercial bonanzas and hyped up reasons to shop. This loss eats at the self-worth of those who struggle to meet ends, and it corrodes our genetically ingrained shared values that what is good for all is good for each. And it cheapens the holiday season itself. So, what do we do about this? One answer is to study the stories more carefully and more fully with our families to see what is new in them for us. Another might be to confront the desire to have more things and instead cultivate a desire to do more good in our communities and the world. Each year at this time, catalogs build up on my kitchen counter that suggest I give gifts of services to those who can't afford them, like eye exams done in remote parts of the world for people who have little or no money, not to mention health care. They asked me to purchase a chicken or a goat for someone who will learn to farm locally on a human scale for their village in Peru or Haiti or Bolivia. These gifts, along with as many local products as I can find, will be at the top of my holiday shopping list this year because they challenge the fundamental problems of wanting more and consuming more than we will ever need. Such a discipline is a spiritual confrontation I will have to have with my soul as I stare longingly at the gift of a new electronic e-reader I want to give a loved one, or some amazing gizmo that my son would love. This confrontation, and then the discipline to act for the good of the planet, and in a more globally minded way, can only do me, and in turn us, more good than harm. Happy holidays. And now, please rise in body or spirit as we sing hymn number 221, Light One Candle. The words are printed on your order of service.
Light one candle for the Maccabee children. With thanks their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when the right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. Light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we learned long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in. Let anger not tear us apart. Light one candle for the wisdom together with peace as the song in our heart. Don't let the lights go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. What is the memory that's built so highly that keep it alive in our flame? What's the commitment to those who have died when cry out they've not died in vain? Have we come this far always believing that justice would somehow prevail? This is the burden and this is the promise that this is we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. tears. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out. Don't let the light go out.
And now, to bring us the light of the Jewish faith, I am very happy to invite Rabbi Diamond to come to our stage and give us his Hanukkah message. Rabbi Bruce Diamond.
Thank you. I don't ever feel the need to hide behind these things. It's like the Maginot Line for some preachers, you know. I'm guessing Reverend C.J. is watching up in northern New York, and I wanted to thank him for his invitation this morning, without which this talk would not have been necessary. But this has happened before, and I'm okay because it's really, I feel honored that C.J. didn't have to rush to take another plane because he knew we had a preacher that might be okay this morning. So I'm okay. You relax, have a good time. I'm a little wiped. I was making sufganiyot last night, also known as fat pills. The sufganiyot are the traditional Hanukkah delicacy in the Sephardic Mediterranean, southern Jewish, it's not southern Alabama, so southern Mediterranean tradition. And I know you think of latkes, potato pancakes, as being traditionally Jewish, but you know, we didn't have potatoes until the 17th century. And mostly that was something in Eastern and Northern Europe where all you had to feast on was what was in your root cellar in December. Some onions and garlics and potatoes, and you had the oil for your lamp, so naturally you made do, and that became the delicacy, so to speak. But traditionally, and much older, are these sufganiyot. I'll tell you what they are. This is not the Food Channel. It's always fun to talk about it. They are like donuts. They're deep fried and filled. But the different donut recipes, they're not like the donuts you get in Dunkin' Donuts. Thank God. They're really very, very tasty. And you fill them with traditionally dulce de leche, right? Like flan. It's very good. And also you can fill them with apricot and with strawberry for an American. And so that's what I was doing until I don't know what hour of the morning. And you can imagine how messy that was. And so it was an extra hour of cleaning the kitchen. But nevertheless, here I am. And tonight we'll be serving them at our annual Hanukkah, we didn't have it last year, Hanukkah first night. We have a Metro menorah. Those of you who drive by on Metro Parkway might see the menorah lit for the next 8 days in front of our facilities at the Masonic Center, and each night we'll add a light, which is the custom. But tonight we're going to have the outdoor lighting, and then we had to limit the dinner to about 100 people because, you know, we're still not into crowding people in, but we do what we can. Have a wonderful dinner and a sing-along. I wish I could invite you all, but I can't. Please, God, come Seder time. That might be more possible. Everybody's learning the Greek alphabet this year, huh? We hope this is the last letter you have to learn. That would be enough. The rabbis didn't particularly care for the Maccabees. And their descendants, the rulers, the Hasmonean priest kings who governed Judea and Israel for the next 75 or 100, didn't care for them. And that's why their books, 1st and 2nd Maccabees, are excluded from the Jewish scriptures. They're apocryphal, although they do appear in other versions of the scriptures. Why they didn't care for the Maccabees, well, that's for another day. Also in the book of 1st and 2nd Maccabees, there's no mention of the lighting of the menorah that lasted for 8 days. That's not in the original story. That's something that came later on in tradition. When I say later on, I mean like around 100 or 200 CE. which for us is later on. Okay, it's all relative. the There is a reference, however, to Hanukkah in scriptures. It's not the Hanukkah of the Maccabees and all of this. It's the Hanukkah, the rededication of the altar at the shrine. As you know, the flame was kept burning perpetually throughout the year. And then at the darkest nights of the year, around solstice time, they would take a flame and put it in a fire pot to keep it safe and let the fire go out on the altar and cleanse it. As you can imagine, if you have a barbecue grill at home, you know, it would need it. So, and they would cleanse the altar and make it fresh and new, and then they would rekindle the fire that night. It's one of the few night traditions that we have. But they chose that time for the same reason that the Celts had the Yule log, or the Japanese have the Mirror Festival at this time of the year. Many cultures in the Northern Hemisphere, from the Martian point of view, are doing exactly the same thing. We are at the darkest time of the year. Some say welcoming the light, and some say summoning the light. We moderns, we're pretty sure we're just welcoming the light that's going to come back anyway. But the ancients were not so sure. They felt that perhaps they needed, as often religion would do, to signal as a sort of a semaphore to heaven what we need, what we want. And we wanted, at the darkest time of the year, to bring the light back. And people had no scientific reason to believe that the light just would keep on fading and fading into darkness. There was no reason that would have to be. We understand the orbiting and the dynamics, but they didn't know that it was going to come back. They thought that God had to send the light back. And so we asked for it. And we even signaled for it. Even the menorah, 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, it's a semaphore. It's like an invitation to make the light return a little bit more day by day. It's a signal to the heavens, maybe, or a beacon. Now, the light does return. Probably. But why take foolish chances? You never know. I wanted to tell you a story about going into a cave. It's actually a real story about going into a cave. It's not the kind of cave that Socrates is described as saying is a symbol of ignorance that people have, that Plato, because that's just Platonic smugness. That's just arrogance that the Platonists thought that everybody were morons except them. So, it's not that cave. It's a cave of, but it's the real cave, and then it's going to become the cave of sadness, or the cave of grief, in which we all have entered. When I was in reform school, that sounds worse than it is, a reform rabbi school. The first year in Jerusalem, after college, it's the first year in boot camp in Jerusalem. And it was wonderful, and I had a chance to traipse about on weekends and other times. And I used to like to go to the Dead Sea region. Spectacular. Nothing like it in the world, maybe. And at the lowest point in the Dead Sea, there's a ravine that's called Ein Gedi. Anybody ever been to Ein Gedi? Ooh, it is, you call it an oasis. There's springs that come down from they're not really hills. You look up about 1,300 feet up in the air. That's sea level up there. You're really down below. But the water's cascading into pools and creates this fantastic slash of green, a ravine of green in the heart of the most lifeless place on the planet. And of course, all kinds of life. Mountain goats, and birds, and roebucks, all kinds of animals live there. And according to the tradition, King David hid out, when he wasn't king yet, he hid out from his father-in-law, not an unusual thing to do. Hid out from his father-in-law, and he hid out in a cave in En-Gedi. So I was traipsing about, and they have a tradition of this is David's cave, but I thought, well, it's too easy to get to, so I started climbing up the cliffs. And I was a young man, and I went up to near the source of the spring, the stream, and there was a cave right next to it. I said, this must be it. It's way up. And I had it in my heart that I was going to come back and spend the night there, which was completely illegal. Because this was still is a border area between Israel and Jordan. One half of the Dead Sea is Israeli, the other half is Jordanian. And although there's good relationships now, back then it was not so great. And there was a lot of infiltration going on. So the area was closed to civilians. It was a military security, very tight security area. Nobody was allowed to be there. So I packed a little knapsack with some bread and cheese, candles, I don't know, matches, water, basic, just for the night. And I was there during the day, and then when nobody was watching, I scurried up and scurried up further and scurried up and found that little cave, and I tucked myself away in it until the place was empty. It was a national park. The place was empty. And there I was, happy as can be. David's cave, and there nobody to bother me. And I had some bread and cheese, and then the sun started to set. Yeah, for those of you who've been in the desert may not realize how cold it gets at night in the desert. I wasn't giving it much thought. So there I was, no blanket, no. Sun started to set. So I went deep, as far into the cave as I could go, and the cave was only like 15 feet in. It wasn't a cavern. And I found a little rock, and I put the candle on there. I couldn't light a fire outside because the military police would come and put me in irons. So I had the candle, and I was sort of okay. Then I lit my second candle. And I was still okay. And that's all the candles I had. No flashlight. I don't know why. And it got really dark. Really dark. And really cold. And then I heard noises in front of the cave. I said, Gewalt. That's not what I said. I said it in English, which I won't say in church. I said, it's either a mountain lion or a panther, which were hunting at night, which they have, or it was an infiltrator, one way or the other. Better keep quiet. And then I figured out it was probably an animal or two that smelled the bread and cheese, so I went to the mouth of the cave and threw the bread and cheese as far away as I could. I went scurrying back. True story. And then it got really cold, so I went to the back of the cave, put my back against a stone, and covered myself with reeds. There were a lot of reeds in the cave. Some animal must have used it as a nesting area. So I was huddling in the middle of the night in the cave in En-Gedi. Well, and I said, when is the sun going to rise? I didn't know. I said, what time is it? I wasn't wearing a watch. I don't know. How long do I have to be like this? I don't know. And every now and then I would crawl out and peek out, and I would look for there was no sunlight. There was no sunrise, nothing. And then I got really afraid. You know what I was thinking? What if this is the time the sun actually doesn't rise? Which is to say, in a matter of hours, I had gone back about 20,000 years. And inside of us is that person, believe me. Just scratch a little bit and you'll find that person there. And I got afraid. I said, oh God, please send the light. Oh God, I really was begging, please, please. I don't know when or how, but then, well, what did Homer call it, the rosy-colored fingers of dawn? In the west, over the mountains of Edom, I saw a little tiny sliver of red. I never would have seen otherwise. And I hooped and howled and jumped and danced like a yahoo on that rock. Oh my, I cannot remember ever being happier, even today. I was filled with joy. I mean, gut deep joy, down to the bone. And the sun rose, got warmer, you know, and I managed to sashay down the cliff when nobody was watching and learned my lesson. Maybe. Now, we, all of us have been in that cave. All of us have been in the cave. Some of us may still be there. I don't mean the cave of stupidity, which was my cave back then. The cave of sadness, or the cave of grief, or joylessness. We've all been in that cave. And sometimes we think maybe the light will never come back. How could it? Maybe this is it. For some people, I guess it is. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is how it's going to be. But it does come back. But it's not the same light from before. It's a different kind of light, or actually a different ability that we have to notice. Because when things are going great and everything is breaking our way, and we haven't a care in the world, everything's bright and sunny, and we don't even notice those rosy-colored fingers of the dawn. We're just living in the sunlight. When you are in the cave, one of the gifts of the cave, of this great sadness, this great grief that many of us experience, one of the gifts is we get to notice smaller things. We get to notice little things that we might have overlooked. We find so many little joys of the moment that we completely ignore in the brash sunlight of our lives. And we get to see with the eyes of gratitude and not with the eyes of entitlement. So that's the message of Hanukkah, don't you think? These lights, you can't really see them, the sages say, are not for utility. These are not the lights that you're allowed to use to read your book or to light your room. We have no permission to use them. I'm literally citing the script, the Talmud. Only to look at them. They're only to be looked at, not to be used. And that's why I'll get too technical. But that, you might as well. These prices, I'll give you the extra part. There's always one light that's higher than the others. It's called the utility one, the shamash. It's not necessarily the one that's just used to light the others. That is the secular light. There are only 8 sacred lights. The 9th is secular. And that light you can use to read by, which creates a cover story. So how can you not use the light of the menorah to read? It's in the room. Light is fungible. Well, you say to yourself, I'm using the other light. It sort of covers your use of that light. It's a sort of a legal fiction. But we're only there to look at it. And it's those little candles that, in the world of LEDs and floods and screens and internet, in that world, a little candle is very easy to miss. And it doesn't seem like very much. But that's the light of Hanukkah. Those little things that we find in our gloom that lead us out of our cave. Happy Hanukkah to everybody.
Rabbi Diamond. It's why it's such a joy to have you with us. And let the light go on. There's a little light down there. All right, it's always a pleasure to have you with us, Rabbi Diamond, and I just want to share a couple personal stories here. One time I asked Rabbi Diamond why he hadn't become a Unitarian, because he shared so many things with us, and his viewpoints and his worldview and his commitment to justice and peace. And as you might have guessed from the first part of his message today, he said, you know, I might have considered it, except that I appreciate so much all of my Jewish traditions and our sense of community. Then another time, he was looking for a place to hold his services on Saturdays, and we offered him the use of our facilities here because we don't use the sanctuary on Saturdays. And he appreciated the offer very much, but it would not work. And the reason was we do not have a functioning kitchen. And it's not possible to put on their regular weekly dinners. And as you gathered from his first comments, food really matters. And, you know, that is one of the beautiful things about the Jewish tradition. It's that sense of community and that sense of sharing, that sense of family dinner. And so those are a couple little personal stories of my connections with Rabbi Diamond. And I just want to say we love you. We love you. And now it's that time of the day when we take our offering and appreciate all of the services and our personnel here. And we appreciate all the support that you give to all faiths. So we'll now pass the offering. Carlos.
This is set for the camera.
Oh, careful.
Now you're on your mark.
As I watch you light the Sabbath candles, there's a lovely glow upon your face. While you're standing there, whispering a prayer, none can take your place. Mamale, Mamale, Mother dear, I'll always call you Mamale. Tired eyes, wrinkled hands, and the loving heart that always understands. I remember how you used to comfort me, a little girl of 3 in bygone years. I remember how you took me on your knees. With a kiss you dry all my tears. Mamale, Mamale, Mother dear, I'll always call you Mamale. Tired eyes, wrinkled hands, and the loving heart that always understands. I remember how you used to comfort me, a little girl of 3 in bygone years. I remember how you took me on your knees. With a kiss you dry all my tears. Silver hair, heart of gold. Day by day we see ourselves as growing old. Mama lay, Mama lay. May God bless you, Mom, me mine. Mama lay, Mama lay. May God bless you, Mommy mine.
Thank you, Carlos. I have to say I teared up. Somehow there was a deep sense of the sacred in the music that you performed today, and I do appreciate that very much. Rabbi Diamond said that the Maccabees story is not in the official Jewish scripture. 5 days ago, archaeologists published a report of some excavations that were done in Israel 40 miles south of Jerusalem, which confirmed and validated the story of the Maccabees in their resistance against the Hellenistic empire that dominated Israel at the time. The Seleucids, they were Greeks, and they tried to impose the Greek pantheon on the people of Israel and tried to suppress the monotheism of Israel. And the Maccabee family and tribe, they rose up against them and fought for many years against them. And this particular fortress was 2,700 square feet, 7 rooms, and had walls 10 feet thick. And there was evidence that it had been burned. And they found artifacts there that substantiated the story of the resistance against the oppressors. So maybe when Rabbi Diamond returns to reform school, he can help to reform the Jewish tradition, and being the progressive that he is, that he can help revitalize that story and make it a part of their scripture. So that's your mission, Rabbi. And now we will have our postlude by Carlos Garcia.
Tzena, 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 haben וחרורנה חיילים במושבה. אל נא, אל נא, אל נא, אל נא, אל נא חיכה בינה מבינך ישבה. tzena, tzena, הבנות תוכרנה חיילים במושבה. tzena, tzena, הבנות תוכרנה חיילים במושבה. tzena, 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 tzena. tzena, 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 הבנות חורנה חיילים במושבה. אל נא, אנא, 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 אנא תיחרנה מבינך ילישבה. tzena, tzena, הבנות נחרינה חיילים במושבה. tzena, tzena, הבנות תורנה חיילים במושבה. tzena, 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 tzena.
Spirit of life, spirit of joy. We really appreciate having Rabbi Bruce Diamond back for us. It's always such a delight, and he's been a longtime friend of ours and friend of our founder, Reverend Robinson, and so many of us through the years. We always look forward to having you with us. So happy Hanukkah to you and your congregation. And Carlos Garcia, it's a great joy to have you with us. We look forward to many years to come. And Rachel Spiller, we appreciate you and the children staying with us today for our Hanukkah service. And Regina Kilmartin for organizing everything, and Sharon Gray on our camera, and Ed Elrod on sound, and Joe Gayton welcoming everyone, and all of our friendly greeters. You know, it takes a family to put everything together, and we're so blessed to have so many wonderful people here participating in everything that we do. And now, as Robert DeGarbo comes forward to extinguish the menorah, do we extinguish the menorah? Rabbi Diamond? What's the protocol for this? Anybody want to put it out or let the light shine on forever? All right.
Tonight we would not extinguish it, but this is early but right before Hanukkah, so you can do whatever, please.
Okay. So we do not extinguish this flame, but we preserve the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world. So go now in peace. Happy Hanukkah. Shalom.